So if you're thinking of retiring in the next 1 or 2 years, or even if you're not and you just want to make sure you're ready, I've got 2 suggestions for you that I'd strongly recommend you consider. The first one, simplify, and the second one is practice. Okay, so simplifying, there's actually a term that I heard not too long ago actually, and I realized I was already doing it. The term is called voluntary simplicity. It's basically just living a simplified life. It's like outwardly simple, inwardly rich, or something like that. Over the past year, a little longer than that, I've been trying to declutter my life. And I don't just mean clutter from the household, but also clutter from the budget and clutter from your mind. If you think about it, all the stuff in your life, how much of that do you really need? And how much of that is actually more of a burden than adding value to your life? And start with just the simple exercise of decluttering your surroundings. Look at everything in the room and think, does this add value to my life, or is it just there, taking up space? Or worse, costing you things, costing you time, costing you energy, costing you maintenance expenses, costing you, just taking care of it. So I sold an apartment just last month. I sold one of my 2 vehicles, and man, just that alone made me feel so much more relaxed. I've got 2 mountain bikes I've had forever. I'm probably going to sell one of those. Just keep one around because I love to ride it. It's great exercise and a lot of fun. But anyway, the point is simplicity. You're doing it intentionally with a purpose. You don't have to go hardcore minimalist. Sell off a few things and see how it feels. So the second one, practice being retired.
What are we talking about? Practice? We talking about practice right now.
So yeah, I'm talking about practice. Just practice being retired before you're actually retired. Figure out how much you think you're going to spend, or better yet, even if before you get to that, just figure out how much are you living on now? What are your expenses? And what can you cut out now that you don't need? Pretend like you're retired and living on whatever it is you think you want to live on when you do that. But that's when I have a hard time with, because I always have these one-off expenses and trips and lifestyle things that aren't really part of my budget. And so I don't really count those as needs, but then if I go back and look at every single month, there's always those extra expenses. So I really am living on a lot more than I think that I need to. So last month I decided to try it out, and I used 2 different credit cards mainly, and so I decided I'm going to use one credit card for all the essentials, and the other card I'm going to use for all those little extra things. So that way I can kind of look at that and say, well, if I didn't have those, this would have been my cost. And so that was useful. Obviously I need more than 1 month of data on that, but that's the direction I was headed. Financially, I still have those questions because I haven't really done the practice that I'm telling you should do. So learn from my experience there. And if you're still in your job or thinking about leaving, pretend you're gone already and see how that feels, and see how you're able to manage things. I think that'll help. So there's the 2 tips for you. I'll be talking a lot more about my experience along the way as I struggle through all these different questions and different issues that come up. And so follow along if you want to join me on the journey. If you're a fan of Tommy Boy, I just have to say, sorry about the wind. I don't even have a microphone yet. Oh, my shoulder's killing me. I really need to get that selfie stick.